who wants to. Okay? You all have what it takes. And I'm not only addressing you, I'm also addressing whoever sees this, because these DVDs have a life of their own. Okay? The Andromedans are light blue skinned. They have 3 sexes, androgynous, male and female. They live in a spiritual community where their lifespan is anywhere from an average of 1,900, 1,800 years to 2,300 years. Some of their race actually live much longer, but that's the average. Their children go to school to what would be the equivalent of our years, 150 to 180 years, where they learn all the sciences, they get all the degrees, and everything that is available as far as knowledge at the moment is taught to them. So when these kids grow up, they are in fact smarter than their parents. And that's called the law of consistency, which is what they practice. All right? They would never, ever consider dumbing down their children so that they could be managed or controlled, because that's sabotaging the race. Okay? So they have all these sciences, they have all this technology. They travel in arcs, or motherships, we would call them. The one that I'm the most familiar with, that I spent 3 months on, is an 800 miles cylindrical sphere that has hundreds of floors. It is much bigger on the inside than it is on the outside. And I have no idea how they do that. I still don't know. But even their scout craft are bigger on the inside than they are on the outside. They have these enormous parks on the inside where they grow all their food. They are fruitarians. Okay? They breathe oxygen like we do. They drink water like we do, but they live off of fruit. And they grow these type of fruits on their craft. They have 20, 30, 40-mile parks on virtually every floor, and along the sides of the parks is where they habitate. There's like apartments all around the circles. And there's wildlife, there's animals, there's birds, things that look like squirrels. There's all these different life forms. They also have a lot of different colors. Because they're fifth density, their color spectrum is 221 colors, where our bandwidth is only 72 here. So it's impossible for me to share with you some of the colors that I've seen, because there's just no way, there's no point of reference for me to share that with you here. They have animals that, well, the closest thing they have is something that looks like a squirrel, but it isn't a squirrel. Okay, but it's very clever, and all the animal life is telepathic. It completely interacts with all of the people there. The children are all telepathic. They do not speak. Very few do. Morine has learned to speak, and that's because of my relationship with him over the last 40 years. He made an effort. Okay, I got way ahead of myself, didn't I? Yeah, it's been a while. I'm a little nervous. My relationship with the Andromedans have been primarily with two beings. A very old gentleman, a sage. His skin has gone pale because of his age. His name was Phaseus. They don't really use names, they use symbols, but for the benefit of me, because of our culture and how we like to label things on the planet, his tone, his frequency, his symbol would equate to the word Phaseus. So he was Phaseus. Phaseus was about 4 foot 11, 4 foot 9 tall. Very old. In our years, he was 4,300 years old. So he was like a Yoda, but very stiff, very stiff. Morine, on the other hand, is 2,300 years old. He was very young, very strong. He's 7 foot tall, 400 pounds, and he's just perfect. He's loosened up. He's learned to talk. He has a sense of humor. Many of them do, but because they're telepathic, you don't actually hear the jokes. Okay. And you know, and I was very self-conscious in the beginning because sometimes they would look and then they would smile and kind of giggle, and you know they're talking about you, but you just don't know what it is. You know, you can't even eavesdrop. So it's been an extremely interesting experience. I love them. I absolutely love them. They are my brothers. They are my family. And the Andromedan people love us because genetically they're connected to us. And they have been extremely worried about us for a long time. There was at one point a council meeting in Andromeda. It's only held there. They don't run it. It's only held there because it's a central point for many star systems in that part of our galaxy to talk about us. And I think it's noteworthy to tell you about this. I was told about this in the late 80s. But they don't have the same kind of time that we do. So I don't know the exact time that this meeting actually occurred. But they only shared it with me in the 80s when I was living in Malibu. There was a meeting to decide what to do here. There was a great deal of concern about intervening to assist us in our evolution because there were outside influences that were doing everything they could to suppress our evolution. And that's a whole other story. A very large contingency, fortunately, thought that it was in not only their best interest, but in our best interest to at least give us the opportunity to make our own choices without being manipulated. A smaller group made the argument, and this was their argument. They don't respect themselves, they don't respect each other, and they don't respect their home. What is their value? We are so busy with our life and going from here to there to here to there, packing up the kids, going to work, paying our bills, doing the grocery shopping, getting gas in the car. We are so busy with our lives that we rarely ever stop to think about what it is that we're really creating. Sometimes something has to happen, like a 9/11, like the cyclone that just hit Myanmar, the earthquake that hit China, where we're jolted out of our reality and we're able to take a step back and say, whoa, what are we doing? I share that with you because most of humanity is in that place. You know, their heads down and they're just pushing along, plodding along, trying to survive, trying to do everything that we've been doing and our ancestors have been doing for thousands and thousands and thousands of years. None of that stuff's going to work anymore. Okay? I know you guys already know that. Okay, the old paradigms are crumbling. They're done. It's just a question of time before they completely collapse and fall. And if you're watching that, if you're watching the world, you're beginning to see it. It's all crumbling. One of the things that the Andromedans are in awe of us about is our ability to create domains of knowing. So what am I talking about? The idea of human rights, the idea of a Bill of Rights, individual liberties, guaranteed rights of a people, how to live and how to be treated. That has not existed on our planet forever. Okay? But we created that. We created the idea of freedom. We created the idea of space travel. We created the idea of free energy. Now, yes, a lot of that has also come from the outside. But the reality is, the reason it's coming from the outside is because we pulled it here. Us. Okay, as a collective consciousness. We pulled all that to us. We even pulled the ETs here. And they've been here for a very, very long time. Okay, the worshiping of the gods, Hermes and Titan and yada, yada, yada. Okay? We did that because we are that powerful. We're magnificent. They are absolutely in awe